it's really like, I was like doing this sermon and it was just like, wow. It's just like, so many ways you can go with it. Let me just say, whenever the Cleveland band sings, oh man, I feel like I'm in heaven. Same thing with when Lessa sings, it's just like, wow, wow. So, praise the Lord that we can experience that together. Our God is now here. You see that? Our God is nowhere. You got those train tracks there. It's foggy. It's not clear. Is he now here or is he nowhere? Well, what is actually going on here? We're going to go in there. We're going to check it out. Let's do it. Exodus 24. Verse 1. Then he said to Moses, "Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship from afar. Moses alone shall come near to the Lord, but the others shall not come near, and the people shall not come up with him." Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the rules. And all the people answered with one voice and said, "All the words that the Lord has spoken we will do." It's not that. Oh, it's better. Okay. All the words of the Lord we will do. Okay, let's see how that works. Then Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel went up. So they're going up on the mountain now. They're getting ready. They're about to hear from God. And they saw the God of Israel. There was under his feet, as it were, a pavement of sapphire stone, like the very heaven for clearness. And he did not lay his hand on the chief men of the people of Israel. They beheld God and ate and drank. The important part here is when they saw the God of Israel. It wasn't just Moses. Moses sees him on a whole different level that the other people didn't. But it says here that they. Who is the they? We go back to verse 9. It's Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and the 70 others. They see the God of Israel. And then, what's really important is if people see God, they usually get destroyed. And so that's what verse 11 is clearing up for us. That they ate and drank. They beheld God and they were all right. Moving on. And he said to the elders, "Wait here for us until we return to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a dispute, let him go to them." Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the rules, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words the Lord has spoken, we will do. What's important here is verse 14. He tells them, "Wait here for us until we return to you." Wait here for us until we return to you. They said they're going to listen to him. Move on to 15. Then Moses went up to the mountain, and the cloud covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord dwelt on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the 7th day, he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain. And Moses was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. You see here, okay, so then we have this mountain picture, right? We have the people, we have 70, we have 3, and then we have Moses. And they're walking up, and then we have like this one first pit stop, and they stop. And then we have this hierarchy of how close can you get to God. And then everybody else stops there, and then Moses goes up even higher. And when Moses goes up even higher, there's this cloud. He's engulfed by this cloud. And he sits there for 6 days. for 6 days. Okay, so remember that first picture that we saw? You go into that cloud, and you're supposed to meet God, and he's nowhere for 6 days. Are you going to be like, okay, God, I'm going to go back now. I'm getting a little hungry. It's cloudy. I can't really see things. You start to doubt God. You're like, maybe that wasn't what he was saying. Did I do something wrong? Then we see on the 7th day, God finally comes to him. And he hears from God. So apart from yesterday's message, that is very important to remember, is waiting. Waiting is very important. When you deal with God, you wait. I don't know how many of us would be up in that mountain for 6 days and just wait. Be up in that cloud. We see here that we should wait. And during this time, Moses goes up into this mountain, and it seems like a fire to the people. All the people are around the mountain at the bottom, and they see it. They're looking up, right? Just pretend you're somewhere in a valley, and you're looking up at the mountain, and you see this fire-like thing on top of the mountain. Your leader Moses went up there. So I would think that you wait until maybe that fire goes out, or that fire-looking thing goes out. But what do? 40 days he was up there. 40 days, your leader is gone. 40 days, he's just gone. So what happens? And let them make a sanctuary. Sorry, go back a little bit. This is what happens in that cloud. This is what God is trying to do during the time that people are waiting. This is what God's purpose is. This is what his plan is. He says, and let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell in their midst. He wants to be with them. He wants to show them how to live. He wants to bring them out of slavery. He wants to establish them as the greatest nation on earth. He wants to give them freedom. He wants to give them milk and honey. He wants to give them everything. He wants to be with them. From 25 to 31, these are some long chapters if you're reading it. And from 25 to 31, we see that God shows them oh, yes, this is very important. Forgot I added this. It's very important that he wanted to be in their midst. So during this time, he shows them where to get contributions for the sanctuary. He tells them how to build the Ark of the Covenant. He tells them how to make the table for bread. He shows them how to make the golden lampstand, the layout of the tabernacle, where everything goes, exactly how God wants it, so that he could be with his people, so that they could live, so that they could prosper. He shows them the bronze altar design. He tells the priests what to wear. He shows them how to consecrate the priest. He shows them how to make the altar of incense. He establishes the census tax, this bronze basin, anointing oil, and incense. What is it supposed to be like? And which priests, which construction people, and how big is everything supposed to be? He goes into really great detail. This is why we can have such good pictures of what it actually looked like. We don't actually have them. We just read the story. Then we have the 10 Commandments. So he gives this to Moses. He gives this to the people. We think that we're doing these things, we're living life, we're going through our days, we're going through our troubles, we have difficulties, and God's up there, he's just sort of, he's got his feet kicked back, he's looking at us down here. Maybe he just like missed the snooze button. The alarm goes off. My kids are having trouble. I'm gonna hit this now. I'm a little tired. No, he's doing things. He knows what he's doing. He has a great plan. During this time, right, 40 days, that is a long time. That is a long time, but there's this fire. That could help you wait. Your leader is gone. Your leader told you exactly what to do. He says, wait until I come back. Let's see what happens. When the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said to him, "Up, make us gods who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." The people gathered themselves together, and they told Aaron, "Up, make us gods who shall go before us." Now, it's easy to look back at the Bible and we think like, man, are they crazy? They just walked through this body of water that just like parted, right? They were walking. They saw these 10 plagues. They saw God doing great miracles. They see this fire on top of a mountain, and they're like, all right, you know what? It's been a little bit too long. Let's make ourselves new gods. And they're gonna tell us like what to do. We're gonna serve them. Don't be like that, because we do that today. People are still sinful. They still fall into the same traps. We just don't say, I'm going to make up myself a God. We say, God, I've been waiting for so long. I've been praying so long. I've been fighting. My heart's been torn apart. How many times have I tried to come to you, God? I've come to my knees. I have this sin that I can't get away from. Come on, God. How long can I wait? I'm just going to go do my own thing. I'm going to make myself gods. I'm going to make myself the leader. I'm going to make this girl the leader. I'm going to make this man the leader. I'm going to make Jim the leader. I'm going to make Beauty my leader. And I'm going to get what I want. Aaron said to them, "Take off the rings of gold that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." So all the people took off the rings of gold that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made a golden calf. And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." You see how twisted we get. When God actually did come through to us, when he did answer prayers for us clearly, after us thinking that he failed, after waiting for too long, we say, you know what, that was actually me. I did those things. My strength did that. And remember, this is so crucial because of how holy and awesome God is. He was just trying to make a way so that he could live with the people. This takes a while for a human to listen to and take in, right? Moses up there 40 days, 34 days, just taking instruction from God. So he's listening to God. And the people are down there. And Aaron, who's supposed to be their leader, who's supposed to be in charge when Moses is not there, who's supposed to point towards God, say, no, we were told to wait. We're going to wait. Moses is gone, so, okay, let's do it. We have waited too long. So the difference is Moses and Aaron. Moses saw God at a much higher level than Aaron did, but Aaron did see God as well. Moses waits. He waits. Aaron does not wait. Moses speaks for God. He hears what God tells him to do and he speaks. And Aaron, he acts on the evil desire of the people. God comes to him. You keep waiting, God will come to you. Don't worry about that. We have this awesome Bible passage that says, he seeks those that seek him. And don't become prideful. You don't seek God on your own. You put that in your heart. But you don't give up. You keep seeking. Don't stop. Keep seeking. He's going to get you. He's going to give you more than you could ever have imagined. And for Aaron, God, the true God, is nowhere to be seen. They make themselves a gold calf. And it says gods, so I'm assuming there's more than just the calf. There's gods that they were made. They're following gold. Gold that was just on their rings, on their fingers. Gold that was just on their ears. And now they're following that which was on them. So, please wait. Please wait. Просьба. Подождать. And speak out. Aaron, he knew what he was supposed to do, and he goes against God. He goes against what Moses told him to do, and he establishes this God that's going to lead them now. Now we're going to switch the pace a little bit. Fast forward to Rome. It's pretty much the end of the big, big Rome that we knew. Rome is sacked on August 24th, 410. It fell to Alaric and his Visigoth armies. Women had a new life, Back then, Rome was this prestigious place. They had the finest jewelry. They had the finest makeup. They had the coolest hair. They had the greatest dress. And then, all of a sudden, they flee to North Africa, because that was still sort of part of Rome too. But they flee to North Africa, and then the people there, the pagans there, they say two things. They say, where is your God? Look at you. Right? Just imagine, whoever in here is the most beautiful, and we all know that that's Irena. Whoever in here is the most beautiful, right? And you're this beautiful woman, okay? And you go, but this is your life. This is everything that you have. You look in the mirror and you say, life is good. And then one day, that mirror shatters. Rome is sacked. You become a slave. You might have a big scar on your face. Or fighting to keep your kids or something like that. Women had a new life. So that thing which they were secure in is taken away. The people that were protecting Rome, these are men, right? They are warriors. They are one of the greatest warriors of all time. And they are brought down to the ground. They are slaughtered. So that what we see, woman's beauty, man's strength, sometimes it takes, decades to go away, and sometimes it just takes one night. Pagans blamed Christians. So, what's really interesting is, it seems like Rome becomes this Christian nation, right? Rome is this Christian nation. Awesome. They're glorifying God. They're living for God. And then, all of a sudden, Rome gets hit, and everybody that was pretending to be a Christian, they look at the person that was actually a Christian. They look to the Moses of the day, and they're like, look what happened once we stopped worshiping the other gods. This is your fault. The other gods are angry at us. Look what you've done. Some Christian theologians are destroyed during this time. Inside, their theology is all messed up. They're wondering, what has happened? What has God done? And St. Jerome, he translates translates the Bible into the Vulgate, which is the Latin Bible. And he thinks it's the end of the world. He actually thinks that this is like the time that Jesus is coming down because Rome is hit. He and the people of Rome, they had all of their trust in Rome. They wonder, how have we angered God? What have we done wrong? St. Augustine, he's not a perfect man, none of us are, but he had many things right. He writes the city of God, the city of man, in response to this thing that just happened. It says, Christian had always suffered and would always suffer in this world. We know that, that's clear, right? Christians suffer. Just because America has taken one down one day, that doesn't mean Christians have flawed somehow. Just because we might be persecuted one day, that doesn't mean that we have flawed some way. It actually might mean that we did everything the correct way. What was really going on was a far deeper warfare. The war between God's kingdom and man's. If God's kingdom was not clearly distinguishable in this world, it is because not everyone who says they are Christian really is. And so what Augustine is saying here, what actually is going on here, if there's any sort of destruction, it's the city of God versus the city of man. The people put their trust in the thing that was visible, in the city of man. And they see the city of God and the city of man is destroyed, and so they think God has failed them. That's not true. What's deeper inside is our heart. Once something happens, does that mean God is no more? If we have to wait for a longer bit, does that mean that God is no more there? We have wandered far from God, and we wish to return to our Father's home. This world must be used, so the invisible things of God may be clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. That is, that by means of what is material and temporary, we may lay hold upon that which is spiritual and eternal. It might seem that Igor's sort of like, he's hitting all sorts of ways right now. How are we going to tie this together? How are we going to bring it together? How's this one story? We have Moses and the people. Moses is the leader. He tells them what to do, and he usually tells them what to do correctly. And then we have the people. Aaron, he listens to the people, and he does what's evil. And the people question, where is God? Of that time, they question, where is God? And so then they take control themselves. And then we have Rome, and the city is sacked, it's destroyed, and the people question, where is God? And the people question, where is God? And many of those proclaiming Christians, they turn to their pagan practices that have gone on for centuries, and they just go right back to it. And what was going on during that whole time is that people were trusting in the things that were visible. Aaron and the people of that time, they didn't see Moses, right? Moses was like this leader that they saw and like, okay, we're going to follow this. But then Moses is gone and we don't see anything visible anymore, so let's put together a calf. Application. Your beauty will fade. You're going to turn into babushka. Your strength will too. You're going to turn into that guy. Why do people say God is nowhere? Why do people say God is nowhere? I assure you, it is because we are nowhere to be seen. If we want for people to say God is now here, then we have to establish that the true Christians are now here. They are not lopsided. They are not trying to get people's approval. They are firm. They do not seek refuge in people. They do not run to people for help. They do not try to imitate people. They are not structuring their lives according to their beauty or strength or intellect or skill, or another man or another woman. Their life is not after Moses. Their life is not after the city of Rome. Their life is not after America or Ukraine. Why do people say God is nowhere? I have to believe because the true Christians are nowhere to be seen. His invisible attributes are not being poured out through us, Christians. They should be. A good example from today's world. You guys all know him. He's one good-looking guy. It's Tim Tebow. It's before Tim Tebow comes to the NFL, there is almost no talk about God. The people in the NFL, they're like, where is God? Where is God? I haven't heard about him in a long time. Where is he? And Tim Tebow comes in, and he says, God is here. God is right here. He lives in my life. He works in my life. He is my God. That's him preaching on the left there. And that's him praying on the field. And you're like, well, if I was Tim Tebow, I would do that too. I would do that, right? It's just nobody's putting a mic to my face, and I'm not on national news. The truth is, there's so many Christians in the NFL, but almost none of them spoke up until Tebow was yelling, I am a Christian, and God is now here. You think people were actually so tell us a little bit about this God that you talk about. No, they talk about his football game. They talk about, well, how are you going to throw the ball today? Or, what's your plan? You're going to take Sanchez's spot or what? No, he just incorporates it in there because it's his life. That's who he is, God. Colossians 1:24. Now I rejoice. Bear with me, okay? Bear with me, please. We're almost there. Now I rejoice in my sufferings for your sake, and in my flesh I am filling up what is lacking in Christ's afflictions, for the sake of his body, that is, the church. So you remember me coming out here, and then my brother, another guy, ruthlessly bringing me back here. Yeah, all right. That's us Christians sometimes when we're told to preach, when we're told to give the word forward, when we have the opportunity, share the word about God, and we run. We say, no, I'm not there. I'm gone. No, you got the wrong guy. I don't do that. We run away, and then finally we're forced down to the ground, and we say, all right, okay, I'm with him. And so then the question is, are you a Moses, an Augustine, a Paul, Tebow, or an Aaron, Jerome, and a nominal Christian? So Aaron was like that guy. He's coming up here, and then he changes his mind and he runs away. And then he's forced back to serve God when Moses comes down. When the strong Christians aren't around in your life, how do you preach Jesus? When the youth leader or the preaching guy isn't there, how is Jesus seen in your life? Do people say, yeah, God is now here. I've seen it in his life. Week in and week out, On Facebook, think about how many times have you actually ever mentioned God? When I see posts that are for lesbianism or against life, I try to get into those comments. It's not because I enjoy being called nasty names. It's not because I like to read bad words. It's because I want them to know that God is still here. He hasn't just disappeared. They're not just going to say those things, then nobody's going to say anything back. There are people that still follow God. There are still people that run after what is right. Beauty, in a way, is relatively easier than praying on your knees, than reading the Word all the time and submitting to it. Right? Eyeliner, I saw you and I put it on. It doesn't take that long. All that other stuff. Some of it takes quite some time. But girls, most of the time, enjoy that kind of things, those things, right? And guys, right? The gym takes work, right? But it's still you almost don't even feel the hours passing by. You're in there, or playing a sport. You don't even feel that. It's just there. You just do it. It's awesome. But in order for us Christians to make a statement in this world that God is now here, it's going to take some serious prayer. It's going to take some serious studying in His Word. Some of you guys might say, well, I'm not that smart, and I grew up with Dan. I'm just kidding. No, Dan's a smart guy. No, but you guys, and he has improved so much. Seriously, he's studying now every day. I'm actually surprised how much he's studying. Studying is hard. I've so many times, Daniel's going out to play basketball. I'm like, oh man, I want to go play basketball. But I got to study. Us Christians, we have to make a statement. We are there. We're not just some potato couches. We're not just some people that are running around, playing Bible games or something. We know what's going on in this world. We can make a difference in this world by God's grace. And it's for His name. Really quickly, for example, abortion and lesbianism or being gay, that's not just something. God doesn't just say, don't do that. There's a reason behind it. And if you study the human nature, if you study how the family works, you can give an intelligent answer to why this, why that. God doesn't just say things. If you study His Word and you're confused about something, look deeper. Ask around. You're not going to get everything. There's still so many questions because God is that awesome. Okay, one more thing. Just making sure there's no more slides. I guarantee you that all of us can have wisdom that cannot be found anywhere else in the world if we go to God and ask for it for His glory. It's a promise. He will empower us to yell out together, God is now here. He has been here all along. But people around us will say, God is now here because the Christians are now here. They will not be here for this earthly city. They will not be here for popularity. They are not here to just make friends. There's a purpose behind them making friends. Now let's all say together, God is now here. All of us together. God is now here. God is now here. I will show the world. Now this last part, more enthusiastically, okay, not monotone. That God is now here. May God empower us to care about His heavenly city and glory so much that everything else in this life is as nothing.